Attention crew, it's time to make it so. Reporting for duty are your fearless co-hosts, Crewman PVG, bringing the logic, Crewman Magix, keeping it bold, and Crewman Tommy, ready with the photon torpedo of hot takes. From classic episodes to new frontiers, Klingon phrases to Starfleet trivia, no quadrant is off limits. So grab your tricorder, set your phasers to fun, and prepare for another warp speed ride through the final frontier. This is Technically Trek.
Laying a course, maximum warp.
Aye, Captain.
Engage.
Eventually, you
Kapla!
bought us the Klingon language.
Hey,
Be like
welcome
in the
everybody.
Kaplazi, the Clizzy and the Kaplazi with the back Lizzie. Blizzy.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We're live, by the way, Crewman Magix. Welcome to the Technically Trek podcast. You know it's Sunday night.
Hello,
to
everybody.
Captain Kev in the chat. And let's say hello to our co-hosts here. We've got Crewman PVG.
Hello. I'm here to
Have egg.
reroute power to fun.
Hell?
That's all I got. Sorry.
Oh, man. A moment of silence on that.
Rerouting power to fun.
All right, let's get over to Crewman Magix. What's up, man?
Nothing. I was about to induce the N in fun to warp variants. Tactical alert.
Oh, man.
Fire!
What up, IB? Man in the chair? Can we call him that?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
What happened to John IB? John IB out there?
Did you call him Gina B?
No.
That's what it sounds like. Who's Gina B?
John IB.
I mean, I don't think that's very nice to call somebody a Gina.
Karen.
Crewman Karen in the chat.
I mean, it's definitely not nice to call Kermit Karen a Gina. I mean, she may have, but
No, we're talking about John B. Because he's
oh,
John B. was
John B's on tour with the Backstreet Boys
yeah.
right now, I think.
John IB. IB me.
Oh,
John IB me.
Ivy.
John
John IB me.
John B.
John
Is
B.
me.
I me is me.
He's making
John?
stuff up.
Where you at?
Welcome, everybody. And I want to say a big thank you to all of our new subscribers. We broke the 200 mark.
Yay!
So we're kind of having a little party here. Not the kind of party we had like a month ago, but we're just having some higher content alcohol drinks. 8% Twisted Tea. You know what the college kids call it, right?
No.
Twisted Tea?
Twisted Tea.
No, they call it Tweez.
Tweez. Huh.
See? That's what I'm talking about. The idiocracy.
I'm not centered. Why am I not centered?
You're not. You're moving the wrong way.
Yeah, you're way out.
No, you know.
Like, I have a question for you. All right, here's the thing. You both have youngins in your house. The new people.
Like Gen Z.
Who decided to rename hot dogs to glizzies? And who approved that message? Who co-stamped and signed that into fact? That's what I want to know. And the people that are out there, do you foresee a hot dog being called a glizzy in the age of Star Trek?
I've never heard that.
No, me either.
You've never heard a hot dog being called a glizzy?
No, never.
That's apparently the thing now. They're called glizzies.
Well, I guess the problem is none of my young kids eat hot dogs. So they would never use the term glizzy if that's in fact what they were calling it. But yeah. Kids are renaming things. But you know what's funny is a lot of this new slang are like throwaway words we had back in like the 90s and 2000s.
Most deaf.
And now these words are actually catching on for whatever reason, and they're
See what I did
using
there? Most deaf. was
Word.
an abbreviation back in the day for most definitely, who then became an artist along with Common. And now I'm saying it again as most deaf. That is the equivalent of the true dat, which is the equivalent to the no cap.
I got a quick story. I
Wanna
went
hear
to
it? Here it
the
goes.
doctor on Monday for my annual checkup.
Do you feel violated?
And towards the end of the appointment, you know, the doctor asks if you, how you're feeling, all that kind of stuff, and if anything's changed. And I said, well, with the podcast, you know, we drink a little bit more, which is not really true because on the Technically Unsound, we drank a lot more. So
Notice how he reworded that to hide the truth. So he didn't necessarily lie,
yeah.
just the wrong emphasis on the syllable.
Yeah. So, but then my doctor said, well, what's your podcast about? I said, yeah, it's Star Trek. You know, we talk about all things related to the Star Trek lore. And he said, oh, wow. He says, I'm a big fan of Star Trek. And we started talking about, I forgot what we talked about, but he brought up, or maybe I brought up, I said, yeah, you know, like one of our big conversations was, you know, Earth becoming a utopia where there was no more need for currency. And he said, well, yeah, obviously, once you bring replicators in to everybody, then you can make anything you need. So there is no point of having currency. And I'm like, damn, my doctor just spit some Star Trek knowledge on me.
The fact that you took that as spitting Star Trek knowledge means you definitely need to go see another doctor.
No, I'm just saying that's not conversation that you would have like out in the street.
This is true.
Street.
Unless you were us back in the day, next to Domino's Pizza.
Unless you were around the Trekkie friends you always wish you had around, which is us.
Yes, this is true.
That's
Or at
what we
Comic
are.
Con. I don't think it's true though. So I mean, props to your doctor for being a Star Trek fan. I don't think that's true because if everyone had a replicator, there would be a mass abundance of just junk everywhere. People would just be producing shit to you would be
Just to
drunk
have. Yeah.
saying, I'm gonna make a phaser the size of my head and replicate that shit.
Kapla.
And you would never use it and you would never reintegrate it back in. You would just have shit laying around all the time.
Right.
And not everyone could afford a replicator. So I don't think.
Wait, if there's no money, then how can you not afford it?
You can replicate money.
Someone else could replicate their replicator.
What I'm saying is, there has to be some.
Can you
form of
replicate a
currency or
replicator?
credit?
You should be able to. You could print
Some
parts,
form of
3D
credit.
parts out of a. From
Can
a
you
3D
replicate
printer.
a replicator? Do we know
You
that?
can replicate the parts for a replicator, yes.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
what I'm saying is, you still have to have some form of credit to afford a house. It's not like you just say, I need a house, and somebody just gives you a house. Oh, well, how are you going to get power to that house? Well, how are you going to power your replicator or anything else, or your sonic showers or clothes?
But don't they have unlimited power, so there's no charge for it?
I don't think they have unlimited power. What I'm saying is, eventually they get to this somehow, some way, but they don't. It's not like, hey, I made a replicator, let's give one to everybody, and then we're done. That shit ain't gonna be that way. Because some people are gonna be like, I don't take replicated shit. I only take real gold.
Could
Because
you?
if you can replicate anything, then why doesn't Quark replicate
Gold press latinum.
You can't.
gold press platinum or anything else?
Gold press latinum cannot be replicated. That's
Or
written.
latinum. Or latinum, just latinum. And that in itself is a little controversy because at one point, Quark is like, gold the useless metal that you humans adore, but then he's like, oh, it's gold pressed platinum.
Humans.
How's gold useless, but then it all of a sudden has value?
So did your doctor say you drank too much? I don't think
No,
we
not
do.
at all.
We don't drink too much.
I don't
Not
think
at
he
all.
went. The story wasn't about medical at all. I think it was more about the Star Trekness.
Yes.
So
But he didn't say anything about the drinking. So shout
you're
out
good.
to Dr. T.
toast.
Yeah, Dr. T, I think if you subscribed, which you may have, because I think the subscriber count went up by 1 after I left the doctor's office.
Dr. T.
Thumbs up to you over there in Shiloh.
Dr.
Or
T, it's time for
O'Fallon
that
or
over
whatever.
50 physical that crewman Tommy needs.
Oh,
my.
well, I've had 2 since I've had 2 over 50 physicals. Well, I don't know,
that-
not physicals, just checkups.
We're not talking. We're talking about the other thing. The thing that almost everyone
The
dreads.
intrusive inspection.
The
But they
one where
don't even take you out
they
to dinner.
advertise Cologuard for,
Oh,
which apparently I don't know. Were you guys?
there's
talking
John
about it?
B. What you
John B. is
you
me.
wake that guy up?
Oh my.
There you go. You're talking about colons, and John B is right there.
Hey Doc, where should I put my pants? Oh, just hang them over there next to mine.
Oh, by the way, in the chat, if you type exclamation mark joke, then the system will tell a joke on your behalf. We tested it out in the early goings on.
Nothing's happening. Oh wait, how many hipsters does it take to change a light bulb?
Everybody's
Oh, it's a really obscure number. You probably never heard of it.
and these are dad jokes, by the way.
Definitely.
Probably not the kind of jokes that you would hear, at like a comedy club.
These are Cremo jokes, is what these are. If Cremo had better dad jokes.
Yeah. So, what are we getting into first? You want to get into this episode 9 that everyone's talking about?
Oh, yeah. So I watched Enemy Mine yesterday. I'm sorry, not Enemy Mine. I watched the other thing, Darmok.
Darmok
season
and
5,
Jalad?
episode 2.
At Tanagra?
Yeah. So, my bad. I watched the latest episode of Strange New Worlds. That's what it was. But it kind of was a mixture of all of them. Why has no one come up with any new ideas? Like, I totally saw this coming from a mile away with her PTSD and everything else. Like, man, PVD, did you watch it at all?
I did.
What were
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Oh, I agree. It was same thing. I can't think of a movie. I think Lou Gossett Jr. was in it. He played an alien.
That's Enemy Mine.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. Him and oh man, what's his name? Man, I literally just watched 2 movies with the actor about a dog. One's called A Dog's Journey. The other is A Dog's Purpose. That's all he does now is wholesome movies. I forgot the co-star with Louis Gossett Jr. Dennis Quaid. Ironically, his son plays on Strange New Worlds. Well, he did on a crossover. He's in
Boimler?
Lower Deck.
Boimler?
Boiler, yeah, is Dennis Quaid's son. But yeah, Louis Gossett, man, amazing reprisal role.
Yeah.
Well, I liked the episode in general. I mean, I thought it was a good Star Trek-y episode. I like the ending. I wanted to see more of a clash between Ortegas and La'an for how that ended. And we're going to do spoilers. This is not spoiler free. We are not a spoiler free channel. Once we know something, we're talking about it.
Ortegas and La'an about how it ended.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory.
Well, let's start from the beginning, right?
Okay.
And let me start off by saying, for whatever reason, Ortegas bugs me. Like her character as a Starfleet officer just bugs me. She's more of a non-officer. Her mentality, her attitude is not the attitude of an officer. Like, I feel like she's too rebellious minded.
She's McCoy. Remember how you were saying McCoy could just lip at Kirk and Kirk doesn't do shit?
Yeah.
That is what Ortegas gives off. She gives off McCoy or Trip attitude.
Yeah, she's just not as disciplined as she should be, I think.
Yeah, and she uses like Gen Z lingo, which maybe they're writing that into her lingo for the kids. They're trying to bring in this new audience, I think, for Strange New Worlds of younger people. But I think all they're doing is pushing away the real Trekkies. So it's kind of like you win some, you lose some, right? It's a lose-lose situation for whatever they're trying to do. But okay, so Ortegas has to go and fly this shuttle, and I think they want to do some sensor readings of some weird anomaly. And so Ortegas goes in alone, and all of a sudden a wormhole appears out of nowhere. The wormhole was not picked up.
Out of nowhere.
It wasn't picked up on any sensors, and the wormhole appears, and Ortegas is sucked into it. She's then pulled into this, I don't know if this is like some other place, other dimension. She crashes on a planet or a moon. I think it's a moon.
Another dimension.
And it's a very hostile climate on this moon. And there are...
By the way, that was my first hint that something ain't right here.
Yeah.
Because of how the asteroid whatever it was she crashed on, there was clearly no vegetation anywhere. The atmosphere was sliding against a gas giant, which basically would mean, like, what would you do if the moon was a mile above the planet Earth? So if anyone's watched the movie Moonfall, you get what I'm talking about. So literally in the distance, you see part of the asteroid, whatever she's on, gets sucked up into the sky. How does she still have air? How did the Gorn that was on the planet... Oh, my bad. Spoilers on that. She crash lands on the planet, and there's a Gorn there.
Okay.
Who's been there for a minute. But back to what I'm saying is, my immediate thought was, okay, we crash landed. That's a gas giant. We're way too close. We need to get off this rock. Whatever. She gets water. You definitely need water. You can go longer without food than you can without water. She concentrates on getting food. Why didn't she concentrate on repairing the shuttle to at least take off 5 feet off the ground and land it in a more stable position? Or at least attempt to break orbit? Because if you're at least in orbit, you're not on the planet that's getting sucked into another planet. But then again, if the planet's being sucked into another planet, where the fuck is the air coming from?
Well, it had me thinking too. She had to conjure up by scrapping parts from her shuttlecraft. She had to conjure up, she had to construct a way to pull the water out of the atmosphere or whatever she did.
Right. Where's that water coming from?
Yeah, so that makes me wonder, why doesn't a shuttlecraft have like an emergency kit where it would have something like that
already built in?
Yeah.
My thought on that was exactly that as well.
And I started thinking about all the other things, like all the other times where they've been stranded on a planet, and it's like, this makes no sense.
Food. There's no water. We can only keep the food near this explosive panel on the bottom of the ship where we're always going to try and land, and is always going to hit a rock and explode and destroy our food. why don't you have more than one location on the shuttle where you can store emergency rations? And my thought or why don't you have a unit? Because if she made that as scrap off the ship, that definitely could be made on the Enterprise and be made a smaller, more compact, portable unit that you could have in more than one location on the shuttle, as well as an air regulator, recirculator. Because if you run out of air, you're expelling. They could do the same thing with air. Why are those not on any of these shuttles?
Yeah.
I mean, we have it on the space shuttle, and we're in the 19th century. Well, 20th century now, but
they should stick that next to the black box.
Probably the 21st century too.
Right. I mean, these are little things like why. Yeah, I didn't get that. And then why was she? I didn't get why she was trying to leave the craft at all. I mean, granted, the way hold on, Captain, because we don't know this till the end. Oh well, that's a big spoiler. We'll go with that here in a minute.
I was thinking the same thing.
So another thing I thought was above Ortega's level of competence was this manipulation she did of the universal translator to talk to a Gorn.
Right.
Like, how the hell can the universal translator now talk to the Gorn? Because you took it apart and did something to it, and now it can understand if it's an agree or a disagree.
Yeah, I don't know. And then my other question was this, and I've thought about this for a minute now. Is being on the bridge crew on the same level as getting a master's degree in the academy? Because Ortegas is a pilot, but yet she was able to craft a water reclamation from hydrometer out of the.
She did a weekend with Bear Grylls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was able to manipulate
course.
and craft a universal translator. Like, how much additional schooling?
A universal
after you
translator.
graduate basic.
Yeah.
The thing about to go through.
The thing about the universal translator is, I thought it took a seasoned expert in linguistics to be able to program a universal translator.
Right. I mean, I get when she was like, "Oh, well, this will at least tell us yes or no."
But to me, even that seems complicated.
Maybe the Metrons made it work.
Making random noises.
They just magically guided her to be able to make it.
Maybe it didn't work, but Metrons.
Agree. Disagree.
Her,
Disagree.
Right. So, that's the thing. Like that inflection. That's one thing to say yes. 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 Okay, that's 3 yeses. That means yes. But I could say yes. And that's an excited yes, or yes. That's an annoyed yes. Like, how the fuck does a universal translator determine that for noises? Essentially clicks and whistles. And it was able to get that. Now, granted, in the long run, we all know why it was able to do all this shit.
Why? TV?
Oh, the Metrons.
Oh.
Which, again, is a throwback to a species that was... now, granted, I almost for a minute was like, what the fuck? How come we don't know about these people? And I realized it's from TOS. TOS picks up on the Metrons later on. And this is before TOS, before Kirk takes over. But
Chief
I
Scott.
thought this was just... I just thought this was a good Star Trek-y episode. I would have liked it if they didn't just cop out and make it it was all a dream.
Let me ask a very fundamental question, and we might need the chat or we might not need the chat to get an answer. But in the original series, what we call the OG, William Shatner's Star Trek, the original series.
Okay.
The first interaction with the Gorn is in an episode, I believe, called The Arena. And they don't even know what they are until the Metrons tell Kirk that these are called the Gorn. So how in Strange New Worlds, which is before Kirk, it's not before Kirk, but it's before that episode, The Arena, in the Star Trek timeline, how do they know to call them the Gorn?
Because of Pike.
Oh, okay. Well, how come Kirk didn't know of the? How come Shatner's Kirk didn't know of what they were called in that episode?
Different universe.
You're always going to use that answer. Huh?
Because it's true. You keep trying to tie it all together. That's like saying that's like trying to tie in Michael Keaton's Batman with Ben Affleck's Batman with the Dorian Gray Batman.
No, John B. I know they know of the Gorn because they've had some major encounters with the Gorn. But how do they know to call them the Gorn?
How does Kirk know to call them the Gorn?
Well, no, the Metrons told Kirk they were the Gorn.
Right, because a lot of time had passed.
Who
but
named?
They already,
I guess my question is who named them the Gorn? Because they have no way to communicate.
We would have to ask Luan, or not Luan.
Who the fuck is Luan?
What?
We
No,
got a
what?
Hawaii division now?
Luan.
Who the fuck is Luan? You got a trailer park division now?
Christina Chong, or what's her name?
La'an.
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 Oh, excuse me. La'an. La'an.
See, you made me lose my thought, man. I blame you.
Sorry.
You were talking about how do they know to call them the Gorn?
not a mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, because in the episode, right, the Gorn seems to be able to read her thoughts, Ortega's thoughts.
Yes.
The Gorn understands
psychic ability.
her, but she doesn't understand the Gorn other than her little made-up universal translator. Agree, disagree.
Agree.
And so when she's thinking of, like when she's thinking the Gorn in her thoughts, does the Gorn, did the Gorn call themselves the Gorn? I guess is what I'm getting at.
I think they were wearing name tags. weren't they?
Agree.
Like if Ortegas is thinking, man, these Gorn are like scary, does the Gorn know that you're talking about me?
Agreed.
Okay, so the Gorn could just understand what she was saying. So
Agree.
that actually is even more controversial if they're listening to what she's saying, because then that would mean that the Gorn understand that they're called the Gorn.
Agree.
Here we go. How did it feel to know that your live stream this morning had no audio?
Just great. Thanks. Rub it in. Rub it in.
Disagree.
I never did.
Oh, man.
No, so the Gorn know that they are called the Gorn, and I believe
Are they okay
know,
with it? Do they like being
All right,
called the Gorn?
Let me back up. I believe someone from the past on the previous episode where they got taken in by that big ass ship, which actually happened to be the original astronauts that got launched, that had been skirting the outskirts of the known galaxy. I think they encountered a species that said, oh, there's a species of alien people called the Gorn. I think that's now here's the thing. I am not saying that is what has happened. I am saying that as a plausible explanation of how we got the name Gorn and how we got the name Homogeny.
Read hegemony, but read John B's comment. We're here to make fun of each other. Did you read John B's comment?
Yeah.
No, did you read it out loud though? I didn't hear you.
I think Gorn is just a Starfleet name for them, just like China is the English name for Zhangguo.
Bao.
All right, sorry.
I mean, that is very true because the Vulcans don't call Vulcan. They call it Navarre. They're like, oh, planet Vulcan. No, they go to planet Navarre. That's her planet. So, I mean, it does pose a very good question. I'm saying that's a I think a logical explanation would be is it got handed down, kind of like how the stories of the Gorn got handed down to La'an and how they knew about them and what to do. You got to hide. I think it got handed down, and the Gorn are just like, yeah, that's our fucking name.
Did you even watch Star Trek this week? Did you watch any?
I did.
What'd you watch?
What did you watch?
Voyager. I watched 3
What
episodes.
That's his go-to. That's his go-to Voyager.
Hold on. What episode of Voyager did you watch? Tell us about it. Give us a
I
book
watched
report.
3. The first one,
He watched a TikTok about it.
gosh, I don't remember.
Tell us about it.
But you
What
watched the
happened?
new Strange New Worlds?
I did.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's focus on the Voyager episode. Let's hear about it.
Was it about species 8472?
It was.
No, stop giving him answers.
was.
Dude. Shut up.
It was.
Let him stop
was,
giving him the answers.
Borg is
What
hightailing
episode
it,
did you watch?
And
Were they fighting the Herojans?
Oh my god,
No.
you're just gonna feed him answers and
the
not.
Borg was
Dude.
fighting
You lost.
species.
You
8
lost. You know what?
72.
You know what? Here's your punishment. You got to sit in the other chair now. You
And
can't be that
Kim-
close.
Ensign Kim had something growing out of his nose, like it was just eating him up, and
Clap test.
I'm not believing you.
Yeah. that's you watched that like 17 years ago. And now you're trying to remember what happened.
It was like 8 different episodes merged together. We're just gonna call it Voyager.
Oh yeah, 8472, and then the Kazon showed up, and then the Rock was in there. What about you, Magix? What did you watch?
I watched Enemy Mine, and then I watched Damak. No, I watched Strange New Worlds. I keep forgetting that it comes on Thursday because I go to watch it on Wednesday for some reason, and I'm like, oh, and then I remember you were like, oh, it's not on Wednesday, it's not on until Thursday, and then by the time Thursday comes around, I just forget about it, and I just watch YouTube videos while I game. But then I was like, man, these are my YouTube. I gotta retrain my algorithm. So then I started watching. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch at least to the end of this season of DS9. So I did do that, and when I did that, my feed for Instagram and everything else kind of updated as well, and started showing the next future seasons of DS9. So I was like, I really want to push through it, and I was like, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna wait for Tom to catch up so we could actually recant some of these episodes. But we haven't done a single one of DS9 since we started this thing, and I'm on season 5, episode 1 right now, and you're close to the end of season 4.
I want to bring up an episode of DS9.
episode was shattered. It was a 2-parter. It's when 709 was brought
Moment
in.
of silence.
Hey, explain to Captain Kev why you're giving gifts out.
Because I'm a philanthropic. I got a replicator.
You're a
What
loser.
are you talking about?
Now listen. I want to talk about Jadzia Dax from DS9.
Jadzia?
Jadzia. She is so impulsive. There was an episode where there was a planet that went in and out of phase. And she fell in love with some dude in like a day. She was ready to leave Starfleet and go be on this planet that goes out of phase for like 60 or 90 years. I forgot what it was. She was ready to do that after falling in love with this dude for a day.
She was okay with it because she's a Dax.
Yeah, and so yeah, for her 60 years is like a lifetime, I guess.
But still,
Scorpion.
I had that same thought. Like, how are you gonna?
Scorpion was the A472 Hirogen.
How you gonna get all moist after one day? Not even a day, like a couple of hours.
Oh boy.
Well, maybe the symbiont has some extra fluidity, but she gets
I see what you
impulsive.
did there.
She gets impulsive, And so in this episode called Rejoined, right? So she meets up, one of the ex-wives of her former hosts comes to the station as some kind of scientific research team. And so this is like a girl on girl scene, right?
I was hoping for some brown chicken, brown cow with that scene. I really was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's UPN network. Probably not what you
I
were
mean, back
expecting.
then they were edgy.
Yeah, that
they
was
were
edgy
edgy
back
back then.
then. Just the gaze, right? The looking, not the gay people, but the gaze in their eyes. The gaze. I mean, GAZE, not GAYS. That was edgy back then. Just two girls looking in each other's eyes was controversial.
No, they ended up kissing.
Yeah. But
There were some
but,
lip
but
smacking.
Jadzia again was ready to leave Starfleet and be with this person. Not
That's
necessarily
'cause it
leave
was his ex.
Starfleet.
That was her ex. She still had the feels. I'm just saying that was her. That was
Yeah.
That was her
I
ex.
get it. I get it. But we had just talked about how she had all these old hosts come up in like a few episodes back, and you just have to be able to separate. Like you have to be able to control those emotions.
My question is this: two questions, really. Who is the oldest Dax that there is? Like,
Ooh.
who's had like 100 hosts or more? Because Jatsia's had like 8, 9. Like, but we never hear of somebody with like 20 or 30. And then at what point in time do they just have to become a monk because they've already smashed everyone around them or had some sort of feelings for everyone in any type of organization that they're involved in?
Like Shakar, who's now smashing Major Kira Nerys.
I guess.
Shakar is like the first minister of Bajor.
Yeah, Karen Reese's thing with
She's
dudes
too
is just kind
easy.
of weird.
She's too easy.
She's very weird.
Yeah.
Yet she won't give up she won't give it up to other people around her.
Like who?
She's
Who wants it?
Julian.
Julian wants
she
some
won't
of
give it
that?
up. Oh yeah, Julian wanted some of that in the very beginning.
Yeah, but he wanted everybody. He don't count.
He still wanted it. He
Odo
wouldn't give
wants
it up to Odo.
Odo.
She wouldn't give it up to Gul Dukat.
Oh, you know what? That's a good episode. They're bonding. They're bonding. What's the episode?
The one where he has to give her a ride to
Yes.
someplace and they end up trying to fuck up some Klingons.
Well, plus they save his daughter.
That's a separate episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, she convinces him.
Oh, but they
To
steal
not kill his
no.
daughter.
In the one I just watched, they steal a Klingon bird of prey.
Yes, that one. They're trying to bond, and it's like we're not bonding. I'm training you to
She's
be
fighting it. She's
a
fighting. it.
guerrilla warfare person, and he's doing the whole. Yeah, but I really need. He's doing the puppy dog thing and trying to wiggle his way into the draws.
I would have liked to see that. I mean, not like pornography, but I would have liked to see that relationship. A Bajoran and Cardassian.
They. What do you mean, Bajoran and Cardassian?
I mean, I
How
know
do you
there's
think Dukat got his daughter?
no, I know because she's half Bajor.
Right.
Yeah, but I would like to see him. I mean, I don't remember what happens, but I'd like to see him get with Major Kira. I'm guessing it doesn't happen.
Just want to see what's underneath the tops because you never see that in any other species. You never see a Cardassian with their top off. You never see a Klingon with their top off. Even males, like just to see what the rest of the body looks like, they only show from the neck above. And maybe it was constraints due to makeup or special effects. But Klingons, you can kind of see because the chicks wear basically a bikini top or whatever those kind of tops are. And everybody else is just humanoid for the most part. So that was like, They should do that. They should definitely, you know what, Star Trek, if you want to be inventive and original, how about doing that?
They did that to
How about
Phlox
showing
on Enterprise.
what a Cardassian body
Yeah.
looks like, even if it's a chart, like the display you have of a Voyager behind you, you know, a medical chart, be like, oh, this is what it is. You know, I'm just saying
Hey,
that should be a book that they could put out. There you
real
go,
quick,
PvP. Take your
controversial,
medical tricorder.
controversial topic here. But
Controversy?
I forwarded you guys a TikTok I found with leaked footage from Starfleet Academy.
And I spent about a whole 10 minutes trying to find that footage elsewhere.
Well, that
On my phone?
dude has one more post with another like 3-minute scene. That same guy.
That's because you're screeners.
Yeah.
So one of the comments says, he says, I'm a screener, you know, I get early access, which is kind of like how I watched The Matrix 9 months before it came out in the theater. So I'm wondering how many other people have posted that elsewhere. So I'm going to try. I have to use my
I don't
Fire
know
Stick.
because you know what? If you look at this guy who posted that footage, I looked at all of his other posts. He posts a bunch of Epstein files.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's got the Epstein flight logs posted.
Wow.
And the only reason I give him any credibility is because he's posted Starfleet Academy footage that's not supposed to be out for another year.
And it didn't look AI. It looked real.
Oh no,
to
that's
me.
real. That's real footage. Yeah, that's clearly real footage. Those are scenes that are going to be in Starfleet Academy if it ever sees the light of day.
If they don't edit it after.
If they don't Batgirl it. That could be the only scenes we ever get. Let me ask a question about, I've already mentioned that I don't like Ortega's character. I don't like her character. I think as an actress, she does really well actually playing this poorly written character. But every now and then she starts speaking Spanish. So on Earth, where the Earth is now this unified utopia, are they still speaking languages everywhere?
I would think so.
Probably.
And they just have universal translators now for everybody to talk to each other? Or has Earth...
But
like-
why do we hear it in Spanish?
Right. Why do we even hear Kapla? Aha! Kapla! Why
There you
isn't
go.
Universal Translator translating Kapla? We talked about this last time.
Was this the season finale? Strange.
No, next week.
No.
And then we'll get back to the animated series. Yeah, the animated.
Can't wait. Oh, boy.
Hey, by the way, this is episode 30, everybody. "30 weeks. We've been, when did you join us? Up week 3, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So we've been doing this for 30 weeks. Almost since the beginning of the year. What, maybe February? So we've been toughing it out. Yes. Captain Kev is on board with the whole, why do we hear Kapla? Why doesn't Universal Translator translate Kapla into aloha or whatever it means?
You know, there is a theory.
What's the theory?
All of Star Trek is a story
Being
written
retold?
by the character that Cisco plays in one of the episodes of DS9, who's a writer who writes about DS9, who later on in that episode with the Visitor, where you're talking about he keeps visiting Jake throughout his life. Jake has that writer's book on one of his shelves. Benny
Oh.
something. It could be that's why we don't hear it translated. is because we are basically being the Truman Show.
Benny Russell.
Yes. There's a theory that Benny Russell made up the entire Star Trek thing, kind of like how MASH, at the end of MASH, or not MASH.
Roseanne.
Nope. It was a hospital show.
Oh.
It may have been ER or St. Elsewhere. Turns out the entire show was a fiction made up by an autistic child in a hospital. And the hospital is showing it. They literally back out outside of the hospital during the winter during a snowstorm. And it turns into the hospital is actually in a snow globe of an autistic patient in a hospital. Yes. The fairy tale book in Strange New Worlds is written by Benny Russell as well. So this writer is mentioned in several different series.
Wow.
And it crosses over. And that's possibly why we don't hear things like Qapla' translated over. Or why we don't hear the Vulcans speak in their native tongue. Because that was a question I had last week, is why don't we hear any other species speak in their native tongues? But Qapla' is the only Vulcan, and there's a couple other races that come over.
Do you guys ever see this guy on TikTok? Nerdy Virgin. Listen to this.
Prepare to separate the saucer section. Oh, God, not this again. What? Separating the saucer section. It's a whole thing. Everyone's got to move from one part of the ship to the other part of the ship, and it takes forever. It's a lot. Yeah, but the ship is in danger, but we want to make sure that the non-essential personnel, the children, are safe. Don't coddle them. I'm not coddling them. We're trying to save their lives. By the way, why does it take so long to detach? I feel like so many other things on the ship are done fast, and yet detaching takes forever.
We're not hearing double. And I just checked YouTube. It doesn't sound double.
I'm not even hearing YouTube. I'm hearing it through Ninja. It's doubled up in Ninja.
Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the beak on that guy?
That was more like we were talking about saucer separation last week, and I came across that video and I thought, it is a pain in the ass for saucer separation. Like,
yeah,
saucer separation is like, what's the point? You agreed to come on this starship. You agreed.
Yeah.
You know it's dangerous. And now you want to go off and be on a separate part of the ship and go to fly to safety. And we got to spend all this time and lose maybe 1 or 2 phaser banks just because you want to go off and be safe. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. I'm not down with saucer separation. Not unless it's a dire emergency and one part of the ship is destroyed.
It's definitely got to be a dire emergency.
Yeah.
I would imagine all the people going to the primary hull there are drills for that. Hey, let's do a saucer section drill.
Captain Kev says it's, protecting the families. How many families, let's take a guess, unless someone knows. Take a ship like, what's a normal ship? Not the
Enterprise D.
Okay, how many families are on the Enterprise D?
No,
I mean, because...
How many...
But the Enterprise D... How often did the Enterprise D see combat? They weren't sending it into combat often.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an exploration vessel, explore.
Well, they were all supposed to be.
Yeah.
Until the Defiant. So, okay, so like 1,000, that's a lot.
The Enterprise D had a crew and civilian complement of approximately 1,000 to 1,012 people.
Damn.
Which included families, although the exact number varied.
Okay.
No portion of the total population was known to families and other non-Starfleet civilians in support roles. So yeah, it's a pretty significant part. And yeah, they are sending a comment. They're the flagship of Starfleet.
Yeah.
They always set the Enterprise in first.
FYI, my BRB button's not working.
What?
It's not working.
It's not working.
What's it doing?
Nothing. Give it an exclamation point.
Oh, snap.
Damn, failure to map.
No, mine doesn't work either. You know what? It's because it's probably because I made a whole new profile for
Nope.
Wes Clinton.
You probably have to restart, unplug and plug your Stream Deck in. I had to restart mine before the show
That could be.
because nothing was working either.
I mean, I'm able to change scenes.
Yeah.
Like I just changed to the PowerPoint scene. All right, let's go to the next one. We talked about saucer separation last week. Let's talk about this one.
Speaking of potential
Oh,
time
what the
directive
hell?
violations, was Cisco right to work with Garrick and fabricate a Dominion plot against Romulus in order to get them to enter the Dominion War? And more, was Garrick right in saying that just a few lives and Cisco's self-respect were a relative bargain in the process of getting Romulans into the war against the Dominion? Personally, I'm inclined to agree with the Taylor, and I think Cisco did the right thing, even if it was morally dubious for him.
I like Garrick. Garrick is one of the more intriguing characters.
Did that just come through?
Yes.
Yeah, John B says they did the right thing the wrong way. The ends justified the means, I guess.
I really don't know. I haven't gotten that far into it. I don't think. I may have fallen asleep.
No, this is the final episode of DS9. I think it's called like a
where he
Pale
says, "I
Moonlight or
murdered
something.
People and conspired and everything else.
Yeah. I murdered. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you imagine, think about if the Romulans wouldn't have joined the Federation's alliance to fight the Dominion, the war may still be going on.
I mean, they had the option of blowing up the wormhole.
Yeah. Why didn't they do that?
I don't know.
I
My
think it was
question
just
this
being
entire
greedy.
time, however, actually has been, why the fuck have they not? Why did no one know about the changelings? Like, so in Picard, this is now the third time that we've been infiltrated by the changelings. Why was none of these things brought up? Like, why were none of these security measures put in place the first two times? Like when you saw the Admiral on Earth was a changeling. When you saw that Gowron was a changeling.
BRB.
Why? Oh, you have to relaunch the software too. Because my Stream Deck came on, but none of the buttons were working until I just relaunched the Stream Deck software.
Yeah, I just relaunched it and it works now. PVG's got his BRB button active.
So
Regular.
yeah, why?
Regular Twisted. He's bartending right now.
Yeah, why were all these things and like the virus that they injected into the founders, which technically went to Odo first.
Right.
Why were none of these precautions put in place? Like that makes no sense to me. Like, so and this is kind of ruins the end of Picard, realizing that your main opponent is simply a changeling who made a deal with the Borg, which technically means the Dominion War never ended.
Right.
They just did the slow, long play.
I mean,
Like-
I think it's that trade-off between this sense of freedom and the sense of being secure and knowing that you have an enemy who can infiltrate your government at any moment. They can infiltrate anything, your government, your military. And how do you defend against that?
John B says because Odo made them an ally. No, they were renegade changelings. It doesn't matter if it's a renegade changeling or not. First of all, where's Odo during this time? Because changelings don't die apparently. Or they have, I don't know how they would die since they don't actually metabolize anything. Second of all,
Thank you.
regardless of if they're renegades, I'm going to have some sort of, we have borders in this country for a reason. we're okay with people visiting Canada, Mexico. Well, those are only two things that border us, but we at least have a means of protection and scanning on both sides of our border, just like most other countries do. You have a port of entry, and you have some means of security, checks and balances. And Starfleet is like Cisco fixed that whole Dominion War thing. We don't have to worry about them ever again. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's
until
that
you
whole.
think of the worst possible things that have ever invaded your entire species, which was you got infiltrated by a changeling who can beat anyone, anywhere, or anything, and then you have this overwhelming force called the Borg.
Do you remember? Do you remember that episode where Cisco went back to New Orleans, and his father didn't want to take the blood test? Cisco's dad, Jake's grandpa, and he was fighting, and he said, "Look, this is not how I want to live my life. I want to be free. I don't want to have to get blood tests every day." And Cisco said, "Well, look, you're my dad, and I need to make sure that you're who you are, because the Dominion could use you against me. Like if you were a changeling, you could influence me."
I think they changed that episode somewhere. Either that or they shot two different versions of that episode, because that right there is signs of you're a changeling. I've known you my entire life. You would do everything to back my play as your son to support me. Getting a simple blood test, which you have to do anyway because you're old, is not a thing.
Right.
Like,
and it wasn't until he cut his finger. Well, like as you're saying, later in that episode, his dad's cutting like onions or something, and he cuts his finger, and Cisco then sees the blood on the knife, and he's like, "Okay, now I know you're not a changeling." But for a minute, Cisco wasn't sure, and he said that's what scared him. He says, "I wasn't sure if you were a changeling or not until I saw you cut your finger, and then the blood was on the knife."
That's why I think that's an issue. I had issues with that episode. Like that, I think maybe I was being negative at the time. I don't know. Maybe I was going through some shit in my own life. I would have liked to see that and be like, "Oh shit, they got to your dad. Your dad is a changeling." That literally would turn DS9 into a totally different show.
If it were my dad, I would just say, "Pops, I'm coming at you. I got this little machine. You're not going to feel anything. It's going to take a couple drops of your blood and we're going to be done. Why are you arguing? Why are you arguing? You're making me look bad. I'm supposed to be the head of Starfleet security. Just shut up. Let me hit you with this take 2 drops of blood gun, and we're going to prove you're not a changeling, and then we're done. It takes 30 seconds or less."
Right.
That was kind of annoying.
Your safety overrides your liberty. The fact that I've got to explain
the extremes
to your children and grandchildren why you don't exist anymore because your ass didn't want to get pricked by a little hypo needle to prove that you were innocent.
Yeah, and John B, he did tell him why, but I mean, I don't know. It's just supporting your family. And I get it, right? Like, this is not how Earth is supposed. You're on Earth. You're not supposed to live this way. But
so the other thing with this is kind of like this.
I think this is the problem with our current society, though.
I agree. Yeah.
Is
yes,
you
and
can't
no.
spank your kids. That's a whole nother story.
Okay, my question is this. I got a question for you. So, PVG, I'm going to ask you first. Tom, do not say shit. PVG.
Yeah.
You get pulled over tonight while you're parked. You're parked somewhere. You're taking a phone call.
Okay.
So you don't want to drive and talk on the phone. So you pull over to the side of the road. You park. You take your phone call. You're wrapping up. Police comes up behind you. Said, sir, I need your ID and registration, license registration. What is your next response to that person?
You'll never catch me, copper.
He's got a
I'm being
V6
dead ass
Cadillac.
serious. Hold on.
Seriously,
Dead-
I would.
Dead seriously. What is your response?
I would give it to him.
See that right there, you're giving up your right to your liberty
How
and
is
your
that?
own safety. You're not required. You weren't doing anything. You were parked
Right.
in a
but-
parked car.
but
You violated no traffic laws.
That's right.
Someone
Did you
who
even ask him why
No.
he's asking for your ID?
No, not
No,
yet.
he just said he's
He
just
just
giving it
asked
up.
me-
You got to at least ask him.
He just asked me, would I give it to him? Yeah, I would.
No, I said the cop comes up and says, license and registration, please. What is your response? And you said you give it to him. So you had no verbal response. Your response is you just hand over your identifying information when you're not required to.
I would say, officer, I want to let you know right now, my car has a button, electric button for the glove compartment to open. And the thing don't work. It doesn't, you got to keep click, 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 click. And then you got to get your
You
fingers
already
in
handed
there.
him your license and registration. He don't need
Yeah.
all that shit.
You're
You already
shot
gave it
already.
to him.
My proof of insurance, I probably pulled my phone out.
You already gave him the information. This is what I'm getting at. This is why I felt really weird about this episode with Jake's dad, or with Siska's dad, is because that is the equivalent of someone getting pulled over, or stopped, or just approached, and asked for their identifying information, and they've done nothing wrong. People are okay with doing that, but they don't realize you don't have to do that.
But,
Well,
there,
what-
but
but-
there's a
And
reason,
then-
though.
What if
And
it's an
then people
extreme
get-
situation though? Like we're under
then
like
people
a big
get
terrorist
mad.
attack.
Then people get mad when people stand up for their own civil liberties of, I don't need to give you anything. I've done nothing wrong. You're a traffic cop pulling over people for traffic violations. I'm not in traffic. I'm in a parked vehicle on the side of a road making a phone call so that I am not violating any traffic regulations.
What if
I
his
don't
dad
need to
was a
give you
changeling?
anything. So that's the thing is, you literally in that episode, you saw both sides of the coin. Just do it. Make our lives easier. Comply, comply, comply. The other side was, no, I don't have to. I don't need to. No.
But
This is why
if you were Cisco, you would want him to comply. But if you were the Pops, you would not want to comply.
if I were Cisco, I would say, what can we do then, Dad, in my case, Mom, because I've had very close to similar conversations. And I'm the asshole, apparently. Because I'm the dude that says, okay, here are your choices. You can do A, stand your ground, do whatever you want, whatever. I'm not going to be there to support it because I have to do B. I have to support myself. I have a child, I have a station, I have an entire federation of planets on Earth to protect. You're choosing to go against that. That's your choice. And once you make this choice, this is on you. I can't help you anymore. Don't look for me for help. I'm letting you know right now, if you make that choice before you solidify this choice, you're going to want to use whatever freedom you have to call in a support system, because I can't be that support system, and as well as stand my own personal ground and the ground of my child and the planet that we are currently residing on.
That's deep.
I'm the asshole, though. That's my asshole response. Because at that point in time, it's like, look, you either put on the shark repellent and have the shark avoid you, or you don't, and the motherfucking shark's going to eat you.
Exactly.
You decide. Put the
Bottom-
ball right back in their court.
Bada
Bottom
bing.
line,
Bada
with-
bing.
Bottom line, that scenario that you gave me, I would comply with everything. So I would get home to my wife and kids later on that night. And tomorrow, I would be alive to do another day of battle. If this, asking me stuff wasn't legit. But that's me.
Karen just did a joke. I started a new business in my attic this year. The sales are going through the roof. Oh, I started a new business making yachts in my attic this year.
Oh my gosh.
Dad jokes 101. All right, let's do a quote real quick.
Well, hold on, because Captain Cad brought something up. So sometimes the outcome of these minor losses of freedom don't seem like anything till 20 years later. We all pick our battles. I don't think that giving my license ruins anything for me. So, Captain Kev, here's a question. It doesn't seem like, and you are correct, sometimes these battles don't seem like anything until it's 20 years later. But here's the thing. When you allow that civil liberty to pass and become acceptable by society, you're allowing the door to open to other things to pass. Like, for instance, we don't need a warrant to walk in your house anymore. I smell something good I've never smelled before. I'm a beat cop. I'm just bullying my way around the neighborhood. I'm going to walk in your house and see what's cooking, what's good. Because we had a report of suspicious smells. That's the civil liberty. And yes, that is an extreme example. But you allow these things to now become commonplace. And now you don't have any liberties at all or rights to do anything. And you already see states that are like that. Think of the Old West. Everyone could have a firearm until someone said, we'll get rid of crimes by not allowing anyone to have firearms. And then realizing, well, the only ones that have firearms are criminals. And once they shoot you, there's really nothing you could do to protect yourself. You just lost the right to shoot back. You have to rely on somebody else to protect you. Same thing with the civil liberty. Giving up your ID opens up a floodgate of things that can happen. Like if PVD gave up his ID and that cop says, you know what, this guy's a nerd. He's at my daughter's where she goes to school or where she goes to work. I don't like this guy. I don't like Star Trek. I don't like this guy. I don't like how he's looking at me. And now he starts harassing PVG in a manner that PVG doesn't realize that somebody's actually harassing him. He wouldn't be able to do that if he never.
Is it harassing if he doesn't realize he's being harassed?
It is when he starts getting fined for things. When, little things come up that are just inconveniences. So what?
Fine or fine?
Fine.
Oh, all right.
So
let's do
what I'm
it.
saying is, you're giving up your liberty to your identity, the sanctity of your house. You're giving up your address. If you're like most people who have a newer license, you're probably giving up your social security number as well.
Well, he doesn't mind. He gave it to me.
Well, what I'm saying is this. I wouldn't. I would ask why. If you know you're not doing anything, but that's a whole different story. Yeah. This is my take on that episode was I saw both sides of the story. I thought it was really good. I don't think it ended really well. I think it was a cop-out way of ending. I would have liked to have seen Cisco's dad raise up and do like the Bell Riots Part 2, but his pops is leading, the civil liberties of Starfleet against the rest of the world.
All right, let's do a quote. We haven't done a quote in like 3 weeks. But I finally got Crewman Patty out in the studio. Here we go. Tell me who says this.
I never thought I would say this, but it's good to see you again. It brings a sense of order and stability to my universe to know that you're still a pompous ass and a damn sexy man.
Dax to Cisco.
I was thinking of Q to Picard.
Oh, come on. That's gay.
Yeah, that's all I got.
John B. says it is to Picard.
Oh my.
Dubois?
Dubois.
Dubois.
I don't know.
That is the episode, Measure of a Man. TNG episode, Measure of a Man. That's the episode where Data is on trial for, being either an object and that guy, Philippa Dubois. Philippa Dubois.
I never.
All right, let's go to the next slide. Do we have to watch this? Oh, there she was.
I never thought I would say this, but it's good to see you again.
I had to clip it.
Gotcha.
Copyright, John B was right. Let's do one more. Because
I think you have your audio routed through to your Ninja window twice. That's why I hear it doubled up.
Oh, it could be. Could be.
Never have sex with the boss's sister.
Who says that?
Oh.
Wait, say that again or replay it?
Never have sex with the boss's sister.
With a blessed sister?
You're the bosses.
Bosses.
John B says it's Quark. Make your guess.
Oh, man.
Karen says it's Quark. John B says it's got to be a rule of acquisition.
Quark.
I'm going to say Bashir.
Bashir? Who are you going
Quark.
with?
Sounds like something.
Going with-
Wait. Paris. Could be Paris.
Rule of acquisition 112.
Oh, well, there you
Never
go.
have sex with the boss's sister.
Oh, wow.
Good ones. All right, that's our quotes of the week. Oh, let's do some quick pictures. Who was in Star Trek?
Chris Fine.
Oh, man. And the guy
Unless
who
that
left.
other guy was in there as well, but I don't think he was.
That's it, Chris? Just Chris?
Kelvin Kirk is what we call him.
Oh, that's Burnham from The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. We're going fast, chat.
The ball.
Oh,
That is why she's on the list.
this was a good little silhouette here.
It is. Very.
What's the
don't-
name?
I think
What's the
that
name of
may
the
have been-
episode? Who's got the
I
episode
think
name?
that,
Cold Creek
Oh,
or something Creek.
yeah.
Carbon Creek.
Carbon Creek.
I don't think that was actually her. I think that was a body double.
I think that was her.
I don't know. It might have been a body double.
I don't know. That looks like her body.
That's why they're
Her
called
body.
body doubles.
Whoever it was, they did it well. Kapla.
All right, who is the girl?
Number one.
Number one. Yeah.
Una Chin Riley. What's her real name?
Rebecca
Romaine.
Romaine Stamos.
Well, the Stamos is gone, but
I didn't know.
who's this?
Captain Archer. I retarded.
That's fucked up. Damien.
Corky. John B says it's Corky. No, it's Jonathan Archer.
Oh, Corky. Oh,
Oh, that was a tricky one. You have to watch Quantum Leap to know that answer. Oh, identify the weapon. I kind of went too fast.
Dominion Repulsor.
What's your guess, PVG?
it's not Maquis.
Maquis doesn't make weapons.
No.
Oh, John B says it's an Andorian rifle.
Yeah, Andorian rifle. Gosh, John B is in the chair.
Try the next one.
That's a Klingon weapon.
Better hurry before John B answers it.
That's a Ferengi weapon.
Klingon rifle.
I'm going to give the chat 5 seconds while I take a sip.
Ferengi.
Told you.
All right, the next one will be easy.
Starfleet, Halo, rocket launcher.
Take the drone things out.
I forgot what it's called, actually. I will need to see the answer myself.
The shoulder-fired rocket
I mean,
launcher.
that's clearly Worf.
Drone bazooka.
Isomagnetic disintegrator.
Oh, that was my next guess.
All right, next one.
Cardassian pistol.
I say Bajoran.
You're saying Bajoran?
Yeah.
Look at that finger, though. That's not a Bajoran finger.
It could be Vulcan.
I don't know. Cardassian
Cardassian.
pistol.
Huh, she told you.
What is this weapon called?
Ferengi whip.
Yeah.
What are you guessing?
It's a whip. Some Ferengi whip.
It's a Ferengi energy.
Energy.
Yeah.
The whipping good.
All right, let's do a
And
couple.
never
trivias.
mind. I'll leave that. I will keep us from not getting it
No,
out.
no. Don't get copyrighted.
Not getting
Which
banned.
alien species first disabled the Enterprise D with a powerful tractor beam near System J25?
Tholians.
Yeah, Tholian.
I'm not answering these. I'm waiting for
Chat?
PVG to answer first.
How about chat? What do you think?
Don't help PVG, chat. Have him make sure he does it on his own.
John B is going with the Borg, and the official man in the chair is usually not wrong. The Borg first encountered the Enterprise D and Q Who using their tractor beam.
You were wrong, Magic.
Even
You're
Captain
right.
Kev.
I was waiting for you to answer though. That's why I gave false
In
evidence.
The
or-
Devil in the Dark, what
Horta.
silicone-based life form did the Enterprise crew encounter beneath
Horta.
Janus 6?
Horta. You know what Horta stands for?
No.
Pepperoni
Horchata?
pizza. Pepperoni pizza.
Horta. It is the Horta. A silicone-based species was discovered tunneling beneath Janus 6 in the OG Season 1, Episode 25. Which Delta Quadrant species harvested organs from other humanoids to prolong their lives?
Hey, Vidians.
You going A?
Yeah.
John B's going A, so you must feel a sense of comfort.
Nah.
All right, we got a hodgepodge of answers. Let's see the correct one. The Vidians were organ harvesters battling the phage disease. Yeah, so the Vidians had some kind of disease. So what they had to do was find organs. At first, they were finding organs from recently deceased people. But over time, they ran out of dead people to find organs from, so they had to get them from living people. Season 1, Episode 5. I don't remember that, though. Doesn't ring a bell. In Darmok, what alien race communicated entirely through metaphorical references and allegory?
See. Geladians.
John B says A.
Oh.
Magix, what are you saying? The chat is saying A. Across the board.
I'm
Oh,
going
Chief
no
Scott.
villains.
Yeah, that was too obvious. Geladians is too obvious.
I made that up.
I know. That's good. You got
That's
me.
not even real.
You got me.
Tamarians, metaphor-based language was encountered in Darmok Season 5, Episode 2, which Magix just watched. Which gamma quadrant species created the Dominion and genetically engineered the Jem'Hadar as soldiers? This was a throwaway. I should have made this the first question. Unanimous with B. The Enterprise crew first encountered the Gorn after whose colony was attacked? Cestus 3, New France, or Regulus
I want to
4?
say A, Cestus 3.
John B's.
New
You
France.
saw John B's answer.
No, it's just, I'm not Regulus 4. No.
All right, let's check. Cestus 3. The Gorn ambushed the outpost on Cestus 3 in Arena. Season 1, episode 19. Oh, here's your favorite episode. You just watched this one, didn't you?
Yes.
In Scorpion, which alien race did Voyager form a reluctant alliance with to resist species 8472?
Borg.
Borg. The Borg. B? We going with a unanimous B?
That was a good two-parter. I completely forgot that.
Yeah. Really good. When did you watch it?
A couple days ago.
17 years ago?
You know, you get my age, you know, your memory banks is just so full and you got to buy some more cloud.
Oh, I hear you. End of document per Magix. Don't say end transmission.
Because we're still here.
Here we are. This is Studio A.
Does that make me Studio B?
Now you're in a remote studio. Oh, by the way, you see I got the little tag now that says East St. Louis. So if anybody is in the vicinity of East St. Louis, you see that empty chair right there? If you're in the vicinity of East St. Louis.
I'm wearing pants, Kev. It's colder. It is.
It's not that cold, though. John B's in the vicinity.
He's right down the road.
Yeah, John B, you could be partaking. Of course, we would miss your view. We actually need that view. You'd have to watch
Or
on
you
your.
can just do like we do and just
Yeah.
play it on your
Ski in the
phone while we're
chair.
doing it.
We got all kinds of brewski. You tell us what kind of brewski you want. PVG will grab a 12 pack of it to make sure you're stocked up. Let me close out this.
Oh, by the way, the bag is not part of the package. That was just literally to protect it in case it cracked open. Yeah.
Thanks again, Magic. I appreciate this. This is Camp 8 seasoning.
And the seal is because the last one I shipped, the first one I shipped, I don't know how they pack them in the planes or whatever. It apparently pulled in moisture.
Oh.
So the top half was clumped hard. So I started putting that seal on it and then I press it down. So that way no moisture gets in. But yeah, I need to start ordering boxes. Or at least a couple to send the individual ones in.
I can't wait to use it.
All my boxes are larger Amazon boxes. I don't get any small ones anymore. And I don't have any bubble wrap or peanuts to put in there to take up the space. So I don't know.
What are you going to do
Anyway.
when Walmart buys it?
I will probably buy an RV type camper and just drive around the country or pay someone that $5 to be like, hey, I need you to drive the RV from this state to this state because I hate driving long distances, but I'll ride in the back perfectly fine. I just don't want to be the one responsible for driving.
You need a partner. Like a life partner.
No, I don't want that either. I enjoy my alone time.
You know what? That just reminded me. Not that there's any correlation between you and Crewman Sherry,
I
but
was just wondering, where is she?
where is Crewman Sherry?
Why is
Oh,
that? How
Karen.
is that a correlation to me?
Crewman Carey's gonna.
Karen, yes.
Crewman Karen's gonna drive.
I
Get
don't
that
know.
RV.
Karen, I think we might have just been new Facebook friends. I
Oh.
think.
Oh yeah, Facebook. I've heard of that.
Some-
All right,
some of the kids
before
are
we
getting-
wrap up though, let's do a quick rating of this last episode of Strange New Worlds, season 3, episode 9. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna give it. I actually liked the episode. I know we picked it apart and we found a lot of little things that we did not
Wait,
like
you never
about it.
got into the end. You never said you mentioned something
Oh,
about
okay.
the end.
Well, let's talk about the end, right? So, Gorn and Ortega, they basically create this bond of like when you survive with someone, there's an automatic bond. Like when you are trying to get through an ordeal, a stressful situation, you have an automatic bond with someone. Like there's no denying that.
I don't like you, but we got to this Friday night rush
Yeah.
without killing everybody.
Right. And so that creates a bond. And so what happens is Ortegas forgets that this is a Gorn. Ortegas forgets that this is a species that's tried to wipe out my species. Because as an individual, I'm okay with you. You tried to help me. I tried to help you. So regardless of what's happening with our species, I'm down for you. You're down for me. Agree. And so when the Enterprise sends the away team, of course, it's La'an, who's traumatized by the Gorn because she blames them for the murder of her brother and many other people, I guess, that she cared about. Her first reaction is pull that trigger, not set to stun, set to kill. And she kills the Gorn that Ortegas had befriended and had a bond with. And Ortegas is freaking out. What I thought was weird is how Ortegas was yelling at the Metrons, or, like, I know someone's out there, like, this is some game to you. What's going on? To me, that's a little that was not very realistic to me.
I see what you did there, John B. Han shot first. Referencing Star Wars, Han Solo shot first. Anyway,
Captain Kev
I
says
get
the
that.
issue for me is that due to the arena episode, they couldn't go further with the whole Gorn relationship. That could have been great. Right, because this is the problem with any prequel. You're boxed in.
But are you? Because eventually the Gorn joined the Federation.
Yeah, but not until after the stuff that happens with Shatner.
But we don't know that's going to happen with Shatner. This is not Shatner's universe.
Well, they're still trying to pretend it is.
Glizzy, hot dog, 6'7", 6'7". That's what I got for that.
That doesn't
Dumbness.
That doesn't mean anything to most people.
No, it doesn't mean anything to anybody because it's just stupid. What I'm saying is this.
I see John B gave it a 9. Captain Kev with the 8.7.
It was a good episode.
What's your score then?
I think it copped out. I think there were some.
Put a number on it.
Man, it's gonna be in the 8s.
8 flat.
It's gonna be in the 8s, even though there were so many elements drawn from other shows and movies. the whole we had to reset humanity's thinking, it was very Q-ish. Because he did the same thing with Picard. We needed to see if you could realize that, linear thinking, and especially in all good things must come, or all good things, they had to reset that. And this is kind of the beginning of showing that. Agree. I'm wondering if she is gonna have some sort of feelings towards La'an, even though this whole thing was a test and not real.
It was real that the Gorn was killed, though.
Was it?
Yeah.
How do we know that? Again, where did the air come from? Where did the water come from? How is there any atmosphere at all if half the planet is being sucked into a gas
the
giant?
Metrons coordinated the crash landing of the Gorn and the crash landing of Ortegas.
I don't think they did. I think it was all made up.
No, they said they did.
They organized it, but I think it was made up because, again, basics. Where's the air coming from? Where's the water coming from? What are these other animals that are
so what are you saying?
Eating?
Yeah, but here's the
They
thing.
made
She
the
still
entire
had
thing up.
feelings. Ortega still had feelings toward that Gorn, that's a Gorn that looked out for her and saved her life. When La'an just
And I have a
blindly,
feeling
La'an blindly shot it, Ortegas is thinking, what is your deal with just pulling the trigger? You should have checked with me first.
I think if it was anyone else, it would have been a different species that person had an issue with. Now, granted, they did have some recent issues with the Gorn, so that may have been in the forefront of everyone's mind. But let's say it was the Paul Wraith from the species where they got trapped in that time vault, whatever thing. What if someone was thinking that? Then that species may have been the one on the planet. I think the Metron, they erased her memory of them. Yeah, I think they made up the entire thing. I think she crash landed. They kept her alive, and they put her through this mental trial.
I think the Gorn was
And
real.
when the other Enterprise, okay, in that case, if that were the case, why didn't they bring the Gorn back with her for studying?
Someone
Why
killed
didn't
it.
they try and?
No,
kill the Gorn?
they already got dead Gorn. See,
Really?
even John
From
B
where?
says the Gorn was real.
Okay, again, you don't see anyone bringing in that Gorn to see how they survived, how they breathed, any kind of medical thing. Because all the other Gorn that we haven't been able
Well,
to
they
bring
couldn't
back
do
to
that
them.
because that wormhole was closing on the Enterprise, so they had to get out of
They
there.
were able to transport the Gorn. You ain't got no size limitation.
They're in a hurry.
It's a transporter.
What's your score? 8.0?
I'm giving like a 8.3.
8.3?
And that's
PBG.
because there's a lot of holes that need to be filled in.
I give it a 9. I think this is Metron's first test with the humans
That we know of.
that we know of. Erica Ortega didn't want the Gorn to be killed.
La'an.
La'an
LaDonna?
LaDonna killed the Gorn. The second test was when Kirk did it. And
He didn't kill the Gorn, though.
no, he did not. And that's when he could have. And the Metrons were waiting for him to kill it. Oh, no, he didn't kill it. So it was 2 humans that didn't want to kill the Gorn against that one. On that particular two tests.
So Captain Kevin asks,
So I give
here's
it a
a
9.
question then. Was Kirk's test better, or what was needed for his test? Was it just to see if humans change their way of thinking? And in which case, does that mean the Metrons are related to the Qs? Because that's essentially what Q has been testing this entire time. Are humans ready to change their way of thinking?
That's a great point, because in Strange New Worlds, they were in the middle of being transported. And all of a sudden that stopped, and they were having a conversation.
The Q is a superior organism than the Metrons. They're like 2 levels higher in
Are
the
they like cousins?
power. No, they're not cousins. The Q are more powerful.
Aunt and uncle?
There's like B canon books and comics where the Q go to war. Every now and then they just show their strength to the Metrons and they just totally devastate them. The Metrons can't stop the Q. But they're all way more superior than humans, of course, or any of the humanoids.
That was a good episode, though.
This is man. This is one of those episodes that definitely could have been expanded on if we had more episodes per season.
Yeah.
Do you think there could have been a better person than Ortega to be the one that crash landed? What if it was La'an?
No. No.
Yeah, really? No kidding.
I want Uhura. I want Uhura on the planet. Because then we could have actually got some conversation.
You know what?
Talking.
Yeah, let's talk about Uhura. I don't like. She does not really. When I think of Uhura, I think of OG Uhura, and she just seems way more calm and collected than this Uhura. This young Uhura just seems like too emotional. Like
because she's young, she don't know shit.
She kind of dumb.
She ain't got that D yet.
I think Ortega was good. She was immature and she was mature. You know, she had her marbles together when she needed, and I thought it was a good balance.
I would have liked to have seen her on there. La'an, no,
La'an would have been too emotional.
La'an would have just killed it outright.
Yeah.
There would be no episode. She would have died because there's no fucking oxygen there.
Yeah.
The
Metron would have been like, "Damn, that was a quick test.
That was a
quick fail."
These motherfuckers ain't changing shit. Basically, Neanderthals again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Ortega's Uhura. I think there was one other person on the bridge. You know what? You could have put Kirk, Sam Kirk on there. He's all into the biologists and all that kind of thing and planets, and you could put him there. Maybe give him a little bit more backstory, other than what we've seen in TOS and what we've seen so far in Strange New Worlds.
They're kind of downplaying him.
They are, because he never got any kind of play. Yeah. Other than the original series where Kirk finds him dead.
It was Shatner with a mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you could put Kirk in there. You know, gave his character a little bit more backstory of what he did. Because that would have also gone along with what happened in TOS when he was on the on that planet where they found him dead. Kind of gives a little bit more backstory of why he ended up there. Like, why would you leave the Enterprise to go do this boring shit on this other planet?
Let me give a score real quick. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I thought it was really good. I mean, it was kind of touching at the end when you see the Gorn die. Ortega's flips out like, "No! Are you stupid?"
I definitely think that ending, though, that's all we got. That's why it got a lower score for me. Is that's all we got in the end.
Yeah.
It went from "No, I know you're here. I know you're watching." Like, if you are my friend and you shot somebody, I'm, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you? I literally like what? Really? First of all, I'm in your line of fire. You didn't clear shit. You could have hit me, you bumbling idiot. What the fuck? Two, you hear me saying no and making movements not to do anything, and you're clearly far enough away from the Gorn that it's not going to hurt you. If it wanted me dead, I would already be dead and bloody. what the fuck were you thinking?
Should
You're an
Ortega have
idiot.
known though that that's how they would react?
Yeah, she should have yelled out, "Hold your fire!" Or
She definitely knew. She definitely should have known, but her naivete prevented that. She should have. If she had
See, that's the
situational
problem with
awareness.
Ortega. Ortega has too much of that naivete.
Yes, that cockiness of, well, you should have. As soon as you knew the Gorn were here and you knew you guys were cool and not gonna kill each other, your first thought should have been like, how do I warn whatever rescue is coming for me not to kill this motherfucker? Maybe we could, work things out. Second of all, you can answer yes or no questions. Are you trying to kill our entire species? Agree or disagree? Is there any way we can make a peaceful coexistence? She did none of that.
Right.
She did none of the things
Yeah,
that
she should have asked more questions.
Yeah, like to get some sort of insight. And if you didn't show that, you definitely could have told that at the end of the episode after she got back. But unfortunately, she got her mind erased. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, this thing definitely could have. John B says, I think this will definitely put a rift between La'an and Erica. We'll see it expand in the future.
Well, neither
Yeah, I
one
can
of them
definitely
make
see
it
that.
to the TOS era.
I mean, neither one of them show up. I mean, we don't know.
I mean, they still
Yeah.
got 2 more seasons of SNW. So
Maybe
we'll see.
one of them dies. I don't know.
I think they both die. I think
Well,
they'll both
were
die
either
before
one of
the
them
end of
on the
Strange New
wall?
Worlds.
Were either one of them on the Academy wall? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. 16 episodes left. Well, 17, right? Because we got one more in season 3.
what's her name? Luan?
La'an.
La'an.
Oh my
She goes
God,
back.
dude. License and registration.
She goes back to California and she starts to teach Top Gun.
I'm retarded?
Don't ever disrespect Top Gun like that ever again in my presence. Captain Kev, sadly, I think they both die. Karen says, don't ask questions you don't want answers to. You know what, Karen? This would have made this a really short episode because if she did answer those questions, depending on what the answers were, I mean, it could have expanded on why she needs to change her attitude. Or if they said, yeah, we're trying to kill your entire species, definitely would have been a short-ass episode. Are you trying to kill our species? Yes or no? Yes? Is there any way for us to make this cohabitable existence? No? Well, fuck it. I'm killing you. I'm murdering you right now. You're trying to kill us. You said there's no way for us to make it better. I got to kill you. I gots to kill you.
All right. Well,
But that's just my thought on it. I could be wrong.
what was your score?
9.
9. Okay. I did 8.5. Magix did an 8.0.
No, I said 8.3.
Oh, that's right. 8.3. Okay. I mean, I think it was definitely the best episode of season 3 so far.
It was up there. It was good. They
I
don't
don't
show
know,
previews for
dude.
the
The
next
Paul
season.
Wraith one, the one in the trap was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
That
The
was
one in
really-
the prison. The prison. That was a good episode.
Yeah, because that had some throwbacks all the way back to DS9.
No
Like,
doubt.
when you think about it, just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. Well, shoot. I think we're about to wrap it up, but give us some closing thoughts. What do you got, PVG?
They don't show the previews to the next show, do they?
They're somewhere out there. You got to look.
I hope it's not the Muppet.
No, that's season 4. Was that your closing thought?
Yeah, pretty much. I hope it's not the Muppet one.
Magix, what's your closing thought?
PvP, you need to watch a definitive episode of
Something.
something, man. Something. Come on, you got to help us out.
I watched.
You got to help us out. Otherwise, next week you got to sit in the other chair. You're not allowed to be that close anymore. You got to do your book report. We need a title, and we need the summary of what happened in the show and what you liked about the show.
Not a mechanic.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to see no Muppet episodes, because that's one bad episode of Strange New Worlds is 10% of a season. We can't afford that. You know?
This is true.
So my closing thoughts is no musical episodes, no Muppets.
Oh, snap. I just realized the only way they could pull off a Muppet show, and I'd be okay with it, that would be if it was actually a crossover with a series finale of Lower Decks, where they're passing through the different variations of time. I don't know. Did you watch the series finale of Lower Decks?
No.
Okay. So the Cerritos is going through this time portal thing. You mentioned it before. That's why I think you saw it.
Oh, okay.
Where they're like, oh, you know, so Cerritos is just a shitty class as a California class. Then it turns into a Galaxy class, and then Constitution, and then back to a single nacelle class. And the Klingons pretty much stay the same until they finally revert back to like a wooden ship. If they do that kind of crossover with Lower Decks, because it goes through a whole bunch of different animation styles when they do it as well, they could cross over with Lower Decks, and one of the realities is they're live action or Muppets.
It would have to be a Lower Decks crossover. I don't see any other way they can make it work.
So Strange New Worlds would have to cross over into Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Like they would have to pick up, obviously, after the series is over. That's the only way I could see it happening where it'd be okay.
Right. Okay.
So Captain Kev says, I'm almost thinking they won't end the show with the beep chair. That would make Magic's therapy correct if it's not OG timeline.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to wrap. Thanks again, everybody, because we have had a little spike in subscribers.
A lot of people in the chat tonight.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys. We got Captain Kev, who I see is number one in the XP. We got Karen, Crewman Karen.
Number one.
We got IB. We got John B. and Chief Scott. So we definitely appreciate you guys. Yeah, I got a few more shorts I'm going to pump out. I pumped out a bunch of shorts from Crewman Patty over the past week because we had we just had a little slow episode with views. So I pumped out some shorts, and man, some of those shorts were hitting really hard. I think one of our shorts got like 26,000 views, which is pretty good for us, and got us a big boost of subscribers. So we'll probably see how it goes. But I like having all this interaction in the chat. It's fun. It keeps us on our toes.
I forgot to mention something. I got bored and I looked up something. I have to make a correction.
Uh-oh. Self-correcting.
A correction, or I forgot what it's called in the newspaper.
Retraction?
Retraction. The Marine are not in Star Wars.
Oh, snap.
They are, the species has very similar designs, and it is a node or a nod to the character from Star Wars.
Okay.
But they are not actually in Star Wars.
Ah.
Just the design of the costume is very similar.
Yeah, I know there's a species that looks exactly like the Breen in Star Wars.
Yeah. So the closest is the Princess Leia outfit from Return of the Jedi when she's shown as an assassin. That's who they thought were the Breen, and that species is not the Breen.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go. Magics
like
with a retraction.
Oh, here's the other question that I have for you. This is homework for both of you guys.
Homework.
PVG, seriously. Homework. Who do you want to see as a guest role or cameo in Strange New Worlds?
Something to think about. Think about what her name is.
It can be her. It can be him.
Because we know it's Gumbo.
I mean, it can be whoever you want, but it's got to be like a celebrity cameo, like
a living,
kind of like how people were like, "Oh, hey, that's Tyler Perry in the new Star Trek movie," or "Hey, that's Jodie Foster."
Paul's got to
an
be
Academy.
Living or dead?
Living has to be living.
To Paul.
John P. We had a conversation earlier about Patton Oswalt.
Okay, well, cool. I'm heading out, but thanks everybody for tuning in. If you are watching and haven't yet subscribed, please do so. It helps us out, and smash that like button. We will catch you guys next Sunday. Stay tuned for some shorts and the like. Peace out.
Kapla.
Kapla.
Nanu.